Hey y'all, good morning. Sunday morning, and we're having a heat wave. Wow, you might be having one too. It has been just incredibly hot. I think yesterday it got up to like 101, and it's been just really challenging for the garden. I've been having water and water and not really doing much else of anything else except watering the garden and trying to keep my caterpillars alive and looking for more. And I'm just going to show y'all around. Yesterday I went to Home Depot with my friend who's also my boss, and we picked out some plants for her, and we put together some containers for her front yard, and they're so pretty. And I was drawn into getting a few more plants, and I wanted to make it more colorful out here. So I wanted something that was going to draw in actually butterflies too. So I got some new plants at Home Depot, and I've kind of tried to mirror it a little bit here. I was going to tell y'all about these plants before I forget what they are, what their names are. And I got two different kinds of coneflowers. I'm really liking them. This one, this pink kind of one, it's looking kind of scraggly, but I know it'll fill in and get more fluffy and luscious because, you know, I've got some coneflowers growing in the front yard, and they're growing really well. So I felt like these would probably do really well. The buttery coneflowers right here are called sombrero, and then these pink ones, scraggly ones, those are called Cheyenne Spirit. And I've got some sweet potato vine growing right here in the front where it's gonna, you know, trail off. And I got some Coleus and some purslane, and then right here, I just dug this up from another pot that I had. That is creeping Jenny, and then right here, this is Calibrachoa, and it's going out. I'm gonna probably have to get something else to fill in right there. But that purslane, it's gonna kind of creep over the side. So I'm gonna have those plants kind of trailing over the front and hopefully providing a little bit of shade for those kind of dark kind of pots. And then I've really got to trim back the salvia. It's fallen over. I can't get through the rose arbor anymore. And I've just done the same thing over here. I also dug up some creeping Jenny from the yard for that one. But I really like this pop of color. Now I feel like I need to have more kind of in the center. But I think if I cut back the salvia, these carex will actually show again. But isn't that pretty, y'all? I'm really enjoying it. And I know it's going to bring butterflies around. 2 nights ago, the armadillo discovered how to get into the circle garden. And he got in there and ripped out a bunch of plants, just totally ripped them out of the ground. And some of them I've tried to save by putting them in pots. And I'm just really heartbroken that that didn't work anymore. So I'm probably going to rearrange, since I don't have to have these plants in a circle around the circle garden anymore because it doesn't matter. And so this isn't really my original plan for the circle garden anyway, to have all this stuff here. So now I'm going to be rearranging and maybe spreading these pots out a little bit more to make a little more sense. So I guess what I'm going to do, you know, from now on, if I want to keep a plant alive, I'm going to keep it in a pot. There's just I did look into getting nematodes, but they didn't seem to be something that was like it just didn't seem like it was going to work for me. So from now on, it's just going to be containers or nothing in here. I was going to show y'all some interesting things that are happening over here. So remember the little flowers that were on the Spanish moss? Now it looks like they have made some sort of, maybe it's a seed pod. And let me show you this. Like right here, like look at that. Like, doesn't that look like a seed pod? Is that not cool? So I think they're doing really well here. since they're setting seed, hopefully they'll, live. I'm about to put the sprinkler, turn it back on back here before it gets too hot. Yeah, but that's really cool. So that's working out well. And one of the things, the reason why this fig tree, normally every year it just was getting scragglier and scragglier, and I was hoping that my neighbors would cut it down, but they haven't actually been back down here for about 3 years. And I guess because it's being watered when I'm watering the rest of the garden, it has actually encouraged it to grow. So now I'm getting these free figs right here. And then also, this is where I planted, and I'm trying to see if this will work back here in the little bit of the shade. This is a clematis, and it seems to be doing pretty well. It's climbing, not flowering, but it's not dying off like the other clematis that I've grown in the past. So I don't think I ever told y'all what it was. It's a pink mink. So this is what I'm looking forward to having. I wanted to show y'all the prettiness of this Coleus. This is one of those ones that I grew from seed. And I didn't, I just threw this back here and it grew. And you can see there has been an armadillo. Look how deep that hole is right there. I hope it doesn't dig this up. But he's just been digging everywhere. But I really like the Coleus with the Dusty Miller. I think that's a fun contrast. I was just reminded when I was talking about that clematis that I planted another clematis like several months ago, really early in the spring. And it had some leaves, and it's finally doing something. I got to show y'all what it's doing, because it had like 2 leaves, and now it's doing this, and it kind of got knocked over, I think, by the sprinkler, because it was kind of on the ground. But I put these rocks around it to keep the armadillo from digging it up. So I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping that something will happen with it. And on this side of the arbor, I still have this cup and saucer vine growing, and it hasn't bloomed. It doesn't even really look that great, but maybe it'll start doing something once it gets to a certain size. And last week I said that this was fennel, but it's dill. Sorry about that. Sorry for the confusion. I'm over here looking to see if I have any eggs or caterpillars. This stuff is, drying up. I don't think they would want to lay eggs on this, but I'm going to show you some dill that does have eggs on it. I have this teeny tiny little dill, volunteer dill, that came up in the middle of the lemon balm. And let me see if I can zoom in here and show you the egg. There it is. Do you see in the center right there, that cream colored orb? That is an egg of an eastern black swallowtail butterfly. And we'll be bringing this in a minute. We did get a little bit of rain one night, so it did get to kind of test my theory slightly about this phlox right here. And the phlox is doing great, even after it's been dug around by that armadillo, and it's still managing to stand mostly upright. I'm loving it so much. I would recommend it. I think it's called Phlox paniculata. That's the one. It is native, and it is thrilling to be able to have it in the garden. I hope it'll do well when I decide to try to put it in pots next year, because I'm giving up on planting things in the ground. That is over. I'm done with that. I'm not letting that armadillo dig up any more things. I've had it. And my bobo hydrangea is getting blooms on it. It's starting to bloom out. Doesn't it look pretty with the coleus and the lemon balm and the hydrangeas, these pink hydrangeas all together? I'm really liking the coloring here. And there's some like ginger or turmeric right here, so that grew back from last year, but that's okay. I like it. It's got a little bit of a tropical flair to it, but aren't these colors pretty and fun? Oh, and let me zoom in right here so you can see the blooms on Coleus. A lot of people pick the blooms off of Coleus, but I don't want to. I like them. I like the sun shining through them. They're purple, and maybe sometimes they don't really go with the rest of the plant. but I don't mind a little bit of clashing. So this is my fun little shady side of the garden, slightly there, and it's looking between the tangerine tree and the lemon tree, and you can see there's some agastache right there that's got to be yanked out because it is gone over, and then there's some more right here too. But when I do it, I'm throwing some seeds out to maybe encourage some to grow more right now. So we'll see what happens with that. I wanted to show y'all what I do about the aphids on milkweed. And here's what I do. I let ladybugs work their magic. So see these brown and tan kind of nondescript looking things amongst the little yellow aphids? Those are ladybug larvae. And I wish I could really zoom in close so you could see how they're kind of the ones that are like from a horror movie, because they will take a little aphid that's so cute when you can see it under a microscope. It's just adorable. It looks like a little cartoon creature. And it'll take it and it'll drink the juice out of it like it's drinking a juice box. And they can just do that over and over and over again. So that's what's so great about ladybugs, because their larvae will just feed on these aphids like crazy. And while they won't make them all go away, they will do quite a bit of damage to the aphid population. And then after you don't notice these anymore, you can just rinse the aphids off with water if you've got any left over. But yes, this is an amazing kind of thing that happens in the garden. If you can just hold off long enough until you see these, you'll be doing good. So you see that black and tan thing right in the center there. I think it is. See, it looks like it could be sucking on an aphid. That is the larva of ladybug. Ladybug larva could be sucking on something, but that's what it is. And see the little aphid right there up above? He doesn't even know. His days are numbered. Also see that wasp right there? I'm pretty sure it's looking for caterpillars, monarch butterfly caterpillars on the milkweed. I see so many wasps around searching around leaves, and I'm sure they're probably finding what they're looking for. And this is one of those milkweed beetles that I'm going to start killing, because look, it is sucking the juice out of this seed pod, and I want this seed pod, so I'm going to kill him. You see what he's doing? He's sucking the juice out. He's ruining my seed pod. My giant swallowtail caterpillar has grown quite a bit this week, and I was going to show y'all if he'll let me pet him, if he'll do this thing. Doesn't his face look kind of snakish? Let's see if he'll get upset with me. See, his head is down there. Do you see it? Well, him's not going to get upset with me either. They must really trust me. But he would have these little orange things come, well, actually they're red at the front of this caterpillar, if Hims was feeling like Hims was threatened, but apparently he doesn't feel that way. So I'm gonna go out and get a fresh sprig of like the newest growth from my either orange tree or tangerine tree to feed him in his little container, and he's gonna get even bigger than this before he turns into a chrysalis. We probably have about 3 or 4 more days of him eating and pooping before he turns into a chrysalis. And yesterday I got another container. It's a critter keeper. This is what it looks like, medium sized at Al's 5 and 10, and it was only $13.49. And you could probably get these in the pet section at Walmart also, but I like to buy it from Al's because they're local. And out of, I think I had about maybe 8 eggs. Out of the 8 eggs that I rescued and brought in, I have 4 monarch caterpillars. So I've been harvesting milkweed and putting it in this jar with like filtered water from my refrigerator. And when I cut the milkweed, I have water with me as I'm cutting it, and I put the milkweed in the water right away. And then when I get inside, I put the milkweed in the container. I don't know what they're doing. I put the milkweed in the container, and then I cut it again under the water so that it will be able to stay fresh longer, and will be able to uptake, you know, fluids easier. So that's how I keep it fresh for longer. Yeah, and these guys are pretty big. They probably have, let me show you how big they are. Come here, my finger looks so gross. But there they are. They're pretty big. They could take a few more days, maybe 3 or 4 days of eating and pooping before they'll be ready to turn into chrysalises. So they may be chrysalises by the time I video next Sunday. So that will be interesting. Oh, and you can see that this one has decided to poop. So there it is. That's a caterpillar pooping. The container that I have the eastern black swallowtails in is kind of a mess and such a jumble because it's got eggs in it and tiny, tiny caterpillars and then giant caterpillars. And I've just been adding more fennel rather than trying to get it out and straighten it out. So you can see it's like, oof, it's a madhouse in there. But what I'm doing is I'm going to take these largest ones out and put them in a separate container because, you know, they're going to turn into chrysalises soon. So I'm taking the biggest ones out and putting them in their own container and giving them food and letting them turn into chrysalis on sticks. So I'll show you how that works. This is my newest guy that's turning into a chrysalis on this stick. And there's a chrysalis that formed last week, and then another one. And this guy will probably turn into a chrysalis today. And I like for them to turn into chrysalises on sticks rather than in the container. That way I have more options in what to do with them if they don't turn into a butterfly until next year. And I'm going to show you something gross. See this kind of fluidy mess right here? Before they turn into a chrysalis, like offload a lot of fluid and poop. So don't worry when you see this, they're not like dying. That's the part. Well, y'all, it's going to be another sweltering hot day, but it is going to be gorgeous. So I hope y'all get to enjoy playing out in your backyard. And I'm going to be playing out in mine, and well, after I go to church. So yeah, going to go to church, and then I'm going to come out here and do some weeding and just whatever needs to be done, just playing outside. But I'm so glad that y'all came with me on my journey with my butterfly garden and my butterflies. And I'm so excited about what y'all are doing in your gardens, because it's just really cool. I love hearing what you're doing. I love hearing about your techniques on how to grow things, because I sure don't know how to do much of anything. It's just trial and error. And so I love finding out how y'all are doing stuff in your gardens. And I hope y'all have a fabulous week. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.